Today, we're going to be in Matthew 22, and just been sharing a little bit of some of these parables and these things that Jesus has been uh, sharing, talking about, explaining before that moment that he went to the cross for us. Um, and in Matthew 21, we have uh, these parables where Jesus is talking, about the two sons that we talked about, and then the wicked vine dressers, and he's speaking to all those that would hear, and the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the religious leaders that are there with them, and really in a way calling them out, speaking strongly to them. But the way that he does that is in these parables. And a parable, these stories, and it lines up exactly in law and in reality and in what it is, but giving it a different story, which I think would help, because if you're literally just calling somebody out, there's just the slap you in the face kind of thing that happens. But it also engages their mind and other factors whenever you tell somebody a story, and it causes this place of thinking and trying to understand, which engages us more than if you just say it straight up, like, here's how it is. And also, the disciples even ask, they say, like, why is it that you talk in parables all the time? Why are you talking riddles? What are you trying to confuse us? And he just tells them, he says, listen, there is so many of these mysteries, these things of God, and you've now become privy to them. You now are getting these mysteries of God, but some won't be able to get them. And whenever I tell these parables, it's like this place of drawing those that will come to me, that they will understand, that they will see who I am, and those that will reject because they want to do their own thing or go their own way. And it says, this is my way of revealing the mysteries. And it's easing people into it, trying to help them come to that understanding. So in Matthew 22, verse 1, it continues in these parables, and it says, and Jesus answered and spoke to them again by parables and said, the kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who arranged a marriage for his son and sent out his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding, and they were not willing to come. Anybody been to a wedding? I mean, I'm sure most of us have, but imagine, if you will, even today, not with like a king or a queen or a king's son or whatever, but weddings, like I haven't been to one, but people are spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars on wedding ceremonies. And I'm like, what? Buy me a house, please. It's like these huge, elaborate ceremonies. So even today, it's one of the most important events, things that happens in our life. But back in that day, I think, if it could be, even more so, like one of the most significant moment in life, this wedding and the wedding feast. And Jesus is talking in this way, of course, because, throughout the Bible, It talks about us being the bride of Christ and this wedding feast and coming to that moment where we come together with him in that. That's the wedding day. And so he's saying this parable and trying to get this understanding to the people that he's speaking to about what really is happening. This is a mystery. The mystery is there's this great wedding and it's heaven and coming together with God. And there's a people that are invited. But will they come? This word here, called, and the word invited in these verses here actually are the same word, and it has a meaning of to yell out, to call, like you're calling somebody. You just like, they're standing over there and you're like, hey, come over here. And when used in a certain way, and in the way that it's used here to speak the word invited, it means to invite. So Jesus is asking, there's this invitation that was put out, or he's speaking, there's this invitation that was put out, and people were invited to a wedding. And back in that day, they say that there was invitations sent out that there was going to be this wedding and this celebration, but the time wasn't given. And then when everything was prepared and it was time to come, that there would be people sent out to call people that were invited in. It's already come in, because everything has been prepared and it's all ready for the celebration to begin. That's what that is meaning. You're already invited. But then the guys go out to tell them, oh, it's all ready. It's time. Let's go. We get to celebrate. But when they go out to call them, in this parable, Jesus says that they're not willing to come. Those that were invited then cited this, like, you know what? I'm not going to go. I mean, every wedding and celebration was important, but this isn't just any wedding that they were invited to. And that's one of the things that I believe Jesus is trying to get across to us is like, this is the king's son. He's the one that has prepared this wedding, the feast, and all the celebration, everything that's going to happen. It's just not some other guy. This is the king and his son. And they've prepared this for us. This invitation that God's given to us isn't just some, oh, hey, come hang out with me at my house, that you get from anybody else. This is the king and his son, right? That, like, this is not just any invitation over to hang with somebody at their house. But they weren't willing to come. In verse 4, Matthew 22:4, again, he sent out other servants saying, tell those who were invited, see, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen, my fatted cattle, and killed. And all things are ready. It's like, listen, I sent that cattle to the butcher. I had them prepare the choicest cut of meats. I'm not using just, the leftover cattle that I had. This is the choice stuff too. Everything that comes with this feast is the best of the best. It's the top of what the king has. This is it. You don't want to miss this. And I think about that in this parable and Jesus speaking this and thinking about God and him speaking to his people or to us and saying, listen, come. The invitations were sent out. You knew this was going to happen, but now everything's ready. And when he says, come, are we going to be too busy? And when he says, come, are we going to be like, I don't know, maybe are they going to, just have the regular muscatoli and the weird chicken that they always have at these places, these things. Like green beans, muscatoli, and some kind of chicken that doesn't have much flavor. I got a lot of things to do. Is it going to be worth it? He sent out his servants again. Tell those who are invited, see, I've prepared all this stuff, the best of the best. It's all done. Verse 5. He says, all things are ready. Come to the wedding. See, I'm asking you, please come. Verse 5, but they made light. They made light of it and went their ways, one to his own farm, another to his business, and the rest seized his servants, treated them spitefully, and killed them. Not only were they too busy, they're like, seriously, stop bothering us. You're getting annoying. You know what? Come over here. I'm going to kill you. I don't know how they did it, but, think about it. It's like they're being invited to a wedding. You know what? I want to kill that guy. I don't know. Of course, Jesus speaking about those, the prophets, those that he sent to bring the invitation that were killed. Verse 7, when the king heard about it, what had happened to those that he sent out, and his invitation was refused again, when he heard about it, he was furious. And he sent out his armies, and he destroyed those murderers, and burned up their city. I've prepared. I've done all this for you to come celebrate all that I've prepared and invited you into. I want to treat you like royalty. I want to bring you into my house, and you can come and be a part of my family, and we're going to just do this and celebrate. It's going to be so amazing. I'm not saving anything for myself, like the better things, but I'm actually giving the best for all of us to have. They refused. Well, we refuse. Or, we may not kill somebody, but are we too busy? I've got a farm to take care of, it's a lot. It's so much work, or, this business that I own, or this work that I do, it's really important. I don't think that I have time for this wedding. And now, in that time, whenever this invitation comes out for us to go to be with him, and it's not going to be like that, like, hey, I'm going to choose. Actually, I'm going to stay here. But in that preparation, what are we doing? Are we getting excited about that wedding that's going to happen? Are we preparing ourselves to be ready to go? Because there's going to be a call that goes out. It says, hey, it's ready, it's prepared. Everything's ready. Come in and celebrate. And if all the time before that, it's been all the worry about how the business or how the kids or how the whatever, and now you need to worry about your kids, but you get what I'm saying though, that we're not thinking, preparing, worrying about like, oh my gosh, I want to be ready. I want to be ready. I want to be where I need to be so that I can hear the call. I don't want to be too far away, or I don't want to be too busy. In verse 8, Matthew 22:8, then he said to his servants, right? He was mad. He destroyed. And in that, he was giving a picture, actually, of what would happen to Jerusalem and the people there that had rejected him, that the city would be overtaken, burned. It's also a picture for us, right? For like, no, I don't want to come to this celebration. It's not going to be a good ending for us. In verse 8, then he said to his servants, the wedding is ready, but those who were invited were not worthy. It's very interesting. I don't know about you. I just got to like, okay, the people that were invited were worthy. The people there were those that weren't invited, and there's people that were invited. People that were invited for a reason. But they took themselves to a place that they became unworthy of being called in then to this celebration. So the people that were invited were not worthy. Therefore, verse 9, go into the highways, and as many as you find, invite to the wedding. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all whom they found. Get everybody, anybody and everybody. Just grab them all. Both bad and good. And the wedding hall was filled with guests. It's so interesting to me because those that were invited, those that were supposed to be the people that would come to this wedding, they got in their own heads and stopped following the one that was giving the invitation to be a part of his family. And then those that were just out, all these. And I love that it says the bad and the good. And it means just, those that are evil or whatever. But when we read this, we have to understand that when he said, just go invite everybody, he's saying, listen, it's not just for one people now. It's for everybody. Everybody is going to be called now into this place, this celebration with me, this wedding feast. Doesn't matter who you are. But everybody now is called into this place. Whether they're good, whether they're bad, no matter what. That doesn't mean they stay that way. But the invitation is now an open invitation. It says, and the wedding hall was filled from all that were going to come in, that came in. And we see here toward the end where Jesus gives us this explanation of what will happen. Yes, all are invited. Yes, it doesn't matter. It does not matter if you've been a good little boy or a bad kid. He says, I want you to come in, be a part of my family. I want you to come into this celebration. I want you to be with me. And in verse 11, it says, but when the king had come in to see the guests, saw a man there who did not have on a wedding garment. So he said to him, friend, and I love this, that when you look into it, it's a very, it says a kindly greeting, like a very kind. He didn't come yelling at him. So everybody's there. Everybody has packed this place out. Whether they were good or bad, everybody's there. But there was this other guy that he didn't have a wedding garment. And they say that actually when people were invited to wedding, they gave them some kind of thing to put on, like it says a wedding garment. I don't know what it was, if it was just kind of like something to put over their other clothes, like a shawl, like a robe or something. Let's say robe because that would be good. But so he drapes this robe, over all that have come. But there was this one guy and he didn't have a wedding garment. And so very kindly and calmly he asked, friend, how actually are you here and you don't have this wedding garment? And he was speechless. Meaning everybody was invited and has come in, and everybody has been clothed with the king's robe. They've been wrapped over their mess, their dirt, their filth, whatever. I'm not saying they're all dirty. We're dirty. I don't know, but let's just say this. They all have been clothed and washed clean by the king's garment that was placed on them. But there was one there that hadn't been washed by the garment. But even then, even in that moment, the king comes very kindly and graciously and asks, friend, how is it that you got here? How is it that you came in here and with everybody and you didn't give your life to Christ? You haven't been washed clean. You don't have the king's robe wrapped around you. And it doesn't say specifically all this, but like when you look into this, being that he comes in this kind and gracious manner, and then it says that the man was speechless, or meaning to hold one's peace. That when he was asked, like, hey, how did you get in here? It's interesting that you made it in here, but how is it that you made it in here? And the guy, rejected the kindness of the king. So again, I say that it doesn't necessarily say this, but I see that as this, oh gosh, the thief on the cross with Christ. in the very last moment that he has on this earth. At that moment, the kind word from the king, and he wasn't speechless, but he accepted Christ. There was another thief on the cross, but he held his peace, and he didn't make it. Then he was speechless. Verse 13. Then the king said to his servants, bind him hand and foot, take him away, and cast him in outer darkness. There will be weeping, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called, but few are chosen. Christ is asking, calling out, sending out the word, saying, will you come? Will you come to this wedding feast that I prepared for you? Will you come in and celebrate with you? Will you allow me to put this robe around you? Will you? Oh. May have been bad before, like it says, whether they were bad or good. Whether they were good or bad, you think you're a good little boy, but really you didn't deserve to make it into the king's feast anyways, even if you were good. I love this story. There's so much. You still had to have the invitation and be accepted and put on the king's garment, that wedding garment, in order. If you were good or bad. And the reason you're there is because of the invitation that was sent out. You couldn't get there on your own. You didn't have the directions. You couldn't find your way. He says, will you accept this invitation, and will you put on these garments that I've prepared for you? Will you put on my robe that is my righteousness, my truth, my justice? Will you put on those clothes that I've prepared for you? Throw off those old dusty garments that you had. Put these on. Don't hold your peace. Don't get busy. Don't get busy tending to all the other things that you think you might need to take care of, but be prepared for this feast that he has for you. And at the end it says, many are called, but few are chosen. It's an interesting scripture that there's a lot of thought about and all this stuff, but it says many are called. Many are called. When you look into this word chosen, it does mean like I choose you, I choose you, I choose you, I choose you. But it also means what is the choicest? What is the best? Those that are put in this place of like, oh, wow, look at them. He says, basically, they're all called, but not all of them make it to be the choice, the choicest of people that I call my sons and daughter, that I call my family. Not all are going to accept the invitation. Not all are going to come into this feast because maybe they got here and somehow didn't have a robe. And I came to them and said, friend, how did you get here? And when I asked that they stood and held their peace and said, wouldn't you like to know? So many times in these parables and these stories that Jesus tells, he's talking about such a similar thing of whether we will accept him or reject him. Whether we'll put on those garments that he's given us or we'll say, man, I'm going to try to get here with my own clothes. I'm going to do it my own way. And it's like, listen, what I want you to know is that this is going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. This is a celebration. It's going to be amazing. And all you have to do is accept the invitation and to be with me. It's not hard work. Sometimes it is hard to lay down ourselves, our own garments, to put on his. Please stand with me.